Hello, legend. Nice to meet you. We met Garcia Lopez 2 years ago.
Si ustedes han leído The Amazing Spider-Man, seguramente recuerdan todavía con lágrimas en sus ojos la muerte de Gwen Stacy. Bueno, pues este y otros detalles sobre su carrera fue lo que compartió GERRY Conway en esta sala.
The first stories that I sold were to DC Comics, and this was the advantage. They were short stories, so there was less risk that the editors had to take on hiring new talent, because they weren't basically putting at risk the entire book. So it was short stories. I liked doing them quite a bit because I was a fan of the kind of twist ending stories that you would see on TV shows like Twilight Zone or in stories by O. Henry or the old EC comics. So it was an opportunity, because they were short, for me to break in. By the time that I was writing Spider-Man, I had been writing professionally for about 4 years. So I wasn't a new writer per se. I had been writing for Marvel for about 1.5 years to 2 years at that point. I'd started writing on some of their smaller character books like Kazar and The Inhumans. Went on to write for Daredevil and Iron Man and Submariner. And the way that Marvel was set up at that time, there were only a handful of writers working at the company. There was Stan Lee, Roy Thomas, Gary Friedrich, and myself. And I replaced Gary Friedrich as the third person after Roy Thomas. Roy didn't want to write Stan's books. And when Stan left his books to become publisher and to work at that level, I was the next in line. At the time the Punisher was created, I was developing a storyline introducing a new manipulator behind the scenes called the Jackal. And one of the ways that I wanted to introduce him was to have a henchman that would be manipulated by him into attacking Spider-Man, which would show that villain was, clever and manipulative. So my initial thought was just a vigilante type character who would be easily played by the Jackal. As in the development of it, as we saw John Romita's costume design, we realized this could be a potentially really cool character. And in the course of writing the script, I found that the character came alive for me. I didn't think that it would ever turn into anything bigger than a comic book character, because honestly, at that time, comics were not selling as well as they had been, and we thought the business maybe had 5 or 6 years left in it. So none of us were thinking that any of this would amount to anything. DC Comics and Marvel Comics were both companies that I was hugely fond of as a reader. And at each company, I had a handful of characters or books that I would have killed to write for. And Justice League was always at the top of the list for me for at either company. So the opportunity to write for that book and continue writing it for almost 10 years was terrific. It's always good for a writer to be challenged by new material and to grow as a writer. And I think that's true for the business of comic books, superhero comic books in particular. I think it's unfortunate that we've that the books have become so adult and complex in certain ways that it's hard for new readers, younger readers, to fall in love with the books the way that people like myself did, at a really young age. The business has lasted now for 80 years, and God only knows, where it'll go from here.